Take two.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody, and we are excited to be announcing a brand new technique this morning. We are with the new technique that we would like to be discussing today is designed to help clear resistance to changing childhood memories.
Yes, indeed. And the reason we're introducing this now is because I just realized, literally in just the last week, that I think that one of the reasons I found changing childhood memories so easy may be that I used this technique before I found out about changing childhood memories. So I'd already done this maybe a couple of years before I started doing, changing childhood memories. So I wanted to introduce this to everybody now because it may make all the, in fact, I'm sure it will make all the difference.
Yeah, we're really excited about this. You know, I've done the technique myself. I actually kind of did a informal version of this quite a while back. We've had several of our Patreon community members now using the technique, and a lot of people really having some wonderful success with this. So tell us a little bit about the why and the what fors and the whatnots of this technique.
The reason for this is because bearing in mind the end result is still always to change childhood memories. So you want to end up with a new childhood for your subconscious to be referring to as fact and proof for what you want now in your life. So this is not in place of. This is to enable you to get past any resistance to changing childhood memories.
Right.
So all right, I'm too excited. That's right. I'm so excited. Okay.
Take a deep breath. Here we go.
So the point of this is for some of us, some people are holding on to anger, not deliberately, but they find it difficult to let go. Not just anger, but other stuff: sadness, regret, all
guilt,
kinds of things,
shame.
Guilt, shame, all of that. And it can be very difficult to let go or impossible to let go. And so consciously, you really want to let it go, move on, change the childhood memories, but something's stopping you. And here's the important thing to bear in mind. Anger is not, not being able to let go of anger is not stubbornness. It's not the conscious mind, making the decision, I'm not going to let go. It's protection mode. So anger is protection mode. And if you think of it like Star Trek, it's obvious, isn't it? If you think of it like Star Trek, and the spaceship has a security system that puts up the shields. I haven't watched a lot of Star Trek, but
that seems apparent.
I believe, from what I've heard, it puts up the shields automatically because it's an automatic security system. Now, if it still detects that there's a threat, it's not going to drop the shields. And if the threat is serious and dangerous, particularly dangerous, you are not going to be able to override the security system simply by making a decision. The threat needs to be gone. So if you think of the due justice technique as as you're annihilating the threat. So as far as the subconscious is concerned, the threat is annihilated, and then you can drop the shields, or then it will drop the shields, and then that'll allow you to move forward. And the reason this technique works is because the subconscious doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. So as far as your subconscious is concerned, this, the threat was genuinely annihilated in reality, even though it's not. Even though it's imagination. So here's what you do. So the basis of this, the reason we've called it the due justice technique, is because there is a part of you, the subconscious, the child in you, that has, that as far as it's concerned, justice has not been done. You've been wronged and nobody stood up for you, and there's no closure. So we think that this is one of the big causes of when you can't move forward. So the purpose.
No, just holding that thought for a second. I know from personal experience, for me, that I have been working, a long period of time. Maybe over a year, dealing with some issues, trying to let go of some things, and I could not get these memories to change.
Right.
It's like I could envision a new childhood. I could, but there's something about it just wouldn't change. And I knew that there was a tremendous amount of resistance around wanting to change those memories, because I felt like, God damn it.
Steady.
Why this isn't fair. There was that sense of injustice there, that it's like, they need to pay for this, kind of feeling.
Right. So, and I know that that is a very common experience. So the idea of the due justice technique is that your subconscious and the child in you has the experience, justice has been done. So due justice has been done. Somebody finally stood up for me, and I've got closure. And then those shields can drop and you can move forward. Yeah. So should we get down to how to do it?
How to do it.
All right. So this is going to sound similar to a different therapeutic technique I've heard of before, but it's very different, and we'll explain why.
Yeah, I mean, it may sound on the outside like the experiential letter writing technique.
Well, yeah. So I'm going to get to that. So basically, get yourself 2 hours where you won't be disturbed, and where you can sleep afterwards. So 2 hours, a couple of hours before bedtime, or on a day off. And it's worth prioritizing this, because this is going to affect everything. Get a notepad and pen, or a new document on your computer, and you're going to write a letter that you won't send. Now, like I said before, this sounds similar to the therapeutic unsent letter writing, but it is not. It's very different. The quick difference: the therapeutic unsent letter writing is that is used in other therapies is about exploring your emotions, being able to process emotions, gaining clarity, perspective, understanding that. This is the opposite. All right, so it's not that. What you're going to do is, dear so-and-so, dear mum, dear dad, whoever it is, and you want to go for the childhood people, the people who raised you first. And you're going to start writing to them, and you're going to tell them everything you really think. So get everything out of you. Swear, use all caps, lots of exclamation marks, be unreasonable, be vicious, be aggressive. The idea is to get all that haha stuff, which is a South African technical term, all that stuff out of you and onto the page or onto the screen. It's like cleaning out an infected wound. Right? Once you've cleaned it out, then you can put the bandage on, and then it can heal. So that's the purpose of this. By doing this, your subconscious, although you're not going to send the letter, that person's nobody's ever going to see it except you. Your subconscious and that child in you will think that that person has received that letter from you and read it. So you write it out, and it's very important. No filters, don't hold back. This is not about being understanding. This is not about being polite. This is not about excuses or justification. This is just let them have it. And then once you've done that, you read through it, and you imagine them reading it. And remember, your subconscious is going to think they're reading it. So that's very important. So then once you're finished with it, you tear it up, throw it away, burn it ceremoniously, or delete it from your computer. Obviously, don't burn it ceremoniously if it's on your computer. Delete it from your computer, and then go to sleep. And while you're sleeping, your brain is able to process that information. Then when you wake up, you can do something something good, like watch some comedy or listen to some music, if you like, and then go back to trying to change those memories, those childhood memories, and you'll find a difference. So some of the reactions we've had from just the handful of people who've tried it so far have been pretty great, really great. A feeling of lightness. Did you want to read some of those? We printed out some excerpts from some of the feedback.
Yeah, these are, people, writing back from, in our Patreon community. One person wrote in, I wrote the letters last night to my father. I'm not sure of all of the changes yet, but one, I woke up with the sharp stabbing pain in my mid lower back is gone. And later the same day, the same person posted, to update this post, something definitely shifted. I was able to imagine something different for my dad today for the first time. I was feeling trapped and imprisoned. Today, that feeling is gone.
Very good. Wonderful
I think that's
stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another one today, the big issue I had is I couldn't pull myself out of the strong emotions no matter what I did until I did the do justice technique. Immediately afterwards, I felt deep relaxation and a need to sleep. When I woke up after these exercises, my brain felt different, like sedated, and then I could work on those memories with the other techniques. Mm-hmm. This is a really valuable exercise to boost the memory change. Mm-hmm. So I know that we could go on with more of those.
That last one was really lovely, particularly. We just got this one this morning, actually, by email.
I wrote to my dad last night before bed. Tell Steve it really worked. I could feel the relief before I went to sleep and slept better than I can ever remember.
Yeah. So again, it's important to remember this is not where you stop. So you do the letter, and then it's very important to still go back and change those childhood memories, because the letter is just helping you to drop the shields so that you can then change the programming on that security system. You have to do that, because otherwise, as you're going about your day, your subconscious is still referring to the original childhood memories. You want to change those. And was there anything else on the list that we wanted to add? Oh, you're going to post a link to the article.
As I'm posting the link, I noticed a question in the comments section that Juanine just posted, and I'm going to try to. Nope, I can't.
What you going to try and do?
Multitask. I can't even talk. Juanine says, "What if I feel guilty for what I wrote?"
Very good question, Juanine. So a couple of things, and that is one. So on this page that Steve is posting now, he's posting a link to the new page that I put on our website, which details all the gives you all the details on this technique and how to do it and everything. There's also a section of frequently asked questions there as well. And this is, I don't think I've added this one yet. So thank you, Juanine. I will. We did mention it this morning to somebody else.
Another FAQ.
Yeah, because somebody else brought it up. So the guilt thing, so a couple of things. Remind yourself, number one, no one is ever going to see it. Nobody's ever going to know about this. Nobody's ever going to know you did it, except you. Number two, this is about changing, again, getting stuff out of you. So with the guilt thing, it's in you. It's not like as you write it, you're making it up, or as you write it, you're creating this stuff. This stuff is in you already. So if you feel guilty, you're going to feel guilty anyway because it's inside you. So all you're doing is getting it out of you and onto the page or the screen, and then you're getting rid of it. So then there's no need for guilt, because you're walking around with it. And so it's affecting everything already. So you're not creating this anger. It's there. You're just getting it out. Another analogy is a pressure cooker. And the longer you hold it in, the more the pressure builds. Now, when you let it out, which is what you're doing with this letter, you're getting rid of it. You're clearing it. So if anything, you can feel very proud of yourself. So I hope that answers that question of guilt.
And as I was working with another client with a very similar question, that feeling of I can't, I not only do I feel guilty, but I feel bad. I feel bad that I'm writing this, I was always the good one, in those kind of feelings. So if you can think about the point of this activity is to go back and allow that little you, that 4-year-old you, that 3-year-old you, whatever, the opportunity to speak,
Yes.
to get out all of those feelings. If you can imagine yourself as the adult you, maybe standing behind the little you,
Yes.
with your hands on their shoulder and helping them get the words out.
Right.
You're just helping them express all of those feelings that you've been carrying around, for some of us, for decades.
Yes. Oh, and a very important point to make on that. You know, you may consciously understand what happened to you or what they did. You may consciously understand, you may think they had good reason, they had a bad childhood, and all of that is good. You may have a lot of compassion and understanding. The thing to bear in mind is that your subconscious does not have that.
Mm-hmm.
Your conscious mind can reason, can understand, can forgive, and all of that. Conscious mind, no clue. So your conscious mind just goes, this happens and there's a reaction.
You mean
so there's no subconscious.
Yeah, you said
sorry. Your subconscious mind just goes. There's a something happens to me and there's a reaction. There's no reasoning and logic and understanding or forgiveness or anything. It's an action and a response, or an experience and a response. That's it.
Sarah asks, should we write to one person a day? You think?
Okay.
I think if it was all at once, it would be a lot of confusion.
Yes. So, and that is going to depend on the individual. So I say start with one, and pick the person you feel the most emotion about. So, the person you feel wronged you the most, you might as well start with that one. So start with that one. And then once you've done that, because we had a question from someone else on our Patreon forum this morning as well, also asking, can I write more than one at a time?
Right.
And you can. It'll depend on you. So write one first, see how you feel. If you feel, I could keep going, then do. That's okay. But if you feel drained and you feel you need to, then go to sleep and do the other one, and do the next one the next day or later or whatever. So be kind to yourself. Don't push this. The idea is to give yourself release and relief and be kind to yourself. So
I think the other thing that we haven't necessarily mentioned here, and I know that we're not going to be able to get all of the information about this technique.
Yeah, you need to click on the link
out in a 15 or 20 minute video. But the other thing that's important to remember is that you want to go back to those primary caregivers for you. So whether that's mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever that was, you want to go back to those earliest people and start there first. Yeah,
that's a great point, because we've also had the question, and this is on the frequently asked questions section on the page, can I write a letter to my spouse or my ex or my boss? And yes, but do your parents and the people who raised you first. So because everything you're experiencing now, or that you've experienced as an adult with your ex and your boss and your work colleagues and whoever else, all of that is coming from your relationship with your experiences with those people who raised you.
Yeah.
So you do those first, even if they're not as strong. So even if, my boss, it feels so much stronger, that's okay. Go do your parents and the other people who raised you first. You can include teachers and that, but start with your parents and anybody else who raised you. Then you can, once you've done that and changed the memories of those people, then move forward and do your ex, your spouse, your boss, and whoever else is in your adult life.
Yeah, that, from my own personal experience, that to me, it's like when I thought about the current issues that I was trying to deal with, lots more emotion there, lots more trauma, and things that I just couldn't let go of. And when I went back to those primary caregivers started there first, it was like pulling out the bottom row of the house of cards.
Yes.
And then everything else, it's like with one person, I didn't even feel like I needed to do that letter. It just felt like I was able to make the change with everything. So I think it's a really incredibly powerful we're going to be really excited to hear your reaction to it, what your experiences are.
And in fact, we might as well be honest about this as well and say, we've had the discussion, do we think this is only necessary to do if you're stuck, or should everybody be doing it? And the answer to that is actually, we don't know yet. So because it's really, we've literally just started recommending it. Definitely do it if you're stuck. But if you're not stuck, you may want to do it anyway. As time goes on and we start hearing more and more of the results that the people are getting, we may find that we start saying, you know what, this should be your first step in this whole process. So experiment, let us know how it goes. Let us know if you need any help. And we'll post the link to our Patreon site as well. So, if you need ongoing help, we do daily podcasts, and we have a forum, and we have our live online sessions every week as well. Do come and join us. We'd love to have you with us. All right.
And
is that everything that was on our list too?
I don't know if did that just post? Yeah. There.
Just took a moment.
Faster EFT Fridays.
Yeah. So that's for
you can also join through that link on Patreon.
And of course, our book, the Reprogram Your Subconscious Mind for Business Success, that's available on Amazon. If you have read it, it would be wonderful if you, and if you liked it, if you found it useful, it'd be wonderful if you put a review up on Amazon. You don't have to have bought it through Amazon to put it up. So, if you've read it, it would be lovely to have that.
One more question.
To put the review on, I mean. Yeah.
Just popped up. Juanine, is it okay to blame the other person on the letter? I mean,
absolutely.
You do this to me. I
Absolutely.
suffer, and it was your fault.
Absolutely. Yes. Lots of that. Lots of blaming, lots of attacking, because bearing in mind, this is a stepping stone. This is not the end result. So you're not, and the difference between thinking it in your head and writing it is it's unpacking it from your head. So when when you're blaming the person in your head, you're carrying that around with you throughout your day and throughout your life. The purpose of putting it onto paper or onto the screen is that it's getting it out of your head. So you're doing it once. You're blaming them once. You're having a go at them. You're attacking them once. And then you can move forward.
My experience as I was doing this, especially, the parental letters, is that I found that my handwriting.
Oh, I was going to say
my handwriting doesn't look like my adult handwriting.
Yes.
And, I could feel the tension. There's a lot of tension there. If you think about a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old throwing a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
That's what, it literally is. And it's just like, stuff is coming out on the paper, and you can't be the adult that's editing.
That's
it.
Right.
You just got to get it all out, and it comes out, and it's just sometimes I can't even read it, and it's just it looks like scratching is on the page with a lot of cuss words.
Yes, yeah, and that's very that your handwriting, you may find if you're doing it by hand, and I was saying it doesn't matter whether you do it by hand or whether you type it. Now I'm starting to think maybe do it by hand if you can, because of that aspect of it, and you'll find that your handwriting may well change to a child's handwriting, teenager handwriting. And that's
Sarah says vile epic drawings.
Yes.
And I think I was actually surprised, because when I started this activity, when I was thinking about parents, it's like, well, okay, I've got some negative feelings, but I'm not feeling all that negative as I'm sitting down to write this letter. Yeah. And I kind of started, and then it was just like, allow that momentum to get rolling, and it's like, wow, I didn't realize all of that was there.
And that's a very key point, is that you may not realize, and that's why I'm thinking maybe everybody do it, even if you don't think you've got any negative feelings, and do it for all of your parents, whoever raised you. Even if you think, well, I understand, I don't have any negative feelings.
Well, that was your experience.
That particular
parent. That was your experience in doing the letter, right?
Yeah, I thought, I don't know what to say. And if you don't know what to say, start with, dear so-and-so, how are you? I am fine. I had eggs for breakfast. It's sunny here. And by the way, and it will, as long as you may not think you know what to say, but as soon as you start writing, just write anything, even if it's about the weather, it'll start to come. Very good. I'm excited to hear how it goes for you. And I think we better end now because it's probably been going on a while.
It looks like we've kind of gotten through all the comments and questions.
Very good.
So
if you've got any more, just let us know and we'll get to it. So,
and we'll see you all next week.
Have a fabulous week.
Yep. Bye for now.